The sky above Earth's last space outpost was black, dotted with red stars. War had spread across galaxies, leaving only dust, silence, and broken metal. Humans and alien factions had been fighting for decades now. Trust was gone. Peace was. A memory. Dr. Ilara Venn sat alone inside a cold medbay, her gloves soaked in blood, her back aching. She had just finished treating another injured soldier. His arm had been blown off by a plasma mine. Another one, she whispered to herself. Every day was the same. Bleeding bodies, screams, orders, no time to rest. No time to feel, but Ilara wasn't a fighter, she was a healer. She had joined the United Earth Alliance as a medic sworn to protect life, not take it. She wiped her forehead and leaned back in her chair when suddenly, her compad beeped. It was a strange signal, encrypted and blinking in a way she hadn't seen before. Unknown source, medical emergency. Coordinates locked, Sector 9. Immediate help required. Sector -9. Her eyes widened. Sector 9 was off limits. It was alien-controlled territory. No human was allowed to cross into it. Orders were clear. Any unauthorized entry meant death. She should have reported it. She should have ignored it. But something about the signal felt desperate. The way it pulsed. The sound. It wasn't a trick. It was a real cry for help. And then she saw it. An attached image. A small alien child, barely breathing. Green skin, covered in burns. Its eyes open just enough to look into the camera, dying, scared. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. She stood up. Her heart pounded. No, she said aloud. I can't just sit here. 10 minutes later, she was in a stolen medical shuttle, flying low through the edge of human territory, hiding from scanners. Her hands trembled as she flew closer to the red zone. A voice in her head kept screaming, "Turn back. You'll be killed." But her heart said something else. If that was your child, would you let them die? When she entered Sector 9, alarms flashed on her shuttle screen, but she shut them off. There was no turning back now. The coordinates led her to a half-destroyed building. Alien tech and steel fused together. Smoke rose from the cracks. The ground was still hot from battle. Ilara grabbed her medkit and stepped outside. The air was thick, silent. No birds. No machines. Just ash and bones. She followed the signal inside. The hallway was dark, lit only by her headlamp. Strange symbols were etched into the walls. Alien writing she didn't understand. As she moved forward, she felt something change. The air became warmer. Her skin tingled. It was as if the walls were alive, watching her. She reached a room at the end of the hall. There, lying on a stone table, was the alien child from the image. Small, barely moving. Its skin was cracked and glowing faintly blue. She rushed to its side. "I've got you," she whispered. "I'm here." She began her work cleaning the wounds, applying sealant gel, injecting pain blockers. The child flinched, but did not cry. It was too weak. As she worked, her scanner beeped again. Something was wrong. The child's blood, it wasn't normal. It shimmered like liquid light. "What are you?" she whispered. Suddenly, the floor beneath her glowed. The walls lit up with blue lines, moving like circuits. She stepped back. The child's body began to rise into the air, glowing. "Ilara Venn." A deep voice echoed in the room. She looked around, terrified. "Who's there?" But there was no one else. The child floated back down. Its eyes opened. And then it spoke. "You are the Reclaimer," it said, in perfect English. "You have come, just as the prophecy said." Ilara's knees buckled. She stared in shock. I don't understand." She stammered. The child raised a hand, touching her arm. A flash of light exploded in her mind. She saw visions, planets burning, fleets exploding, ancient machines rising. A war older than time itself. And at the center of it all, a woman who looked like her, standing between life and death, She gasped and fell backward. The room went dark again. The child collapsed, unconscious, but Alara felt something inside her change. Her fingers tingled. Her heart beat slower. Her vision was sharper. She touched the wound on her hand, a cut she had gotten in the shuttle. In seconds, it healed completely. She blinked. What just happened to me? Back on her shuttle, she strapped in, her mind spinning. She checked the child alive but sleeping. Stable. As she flew back toward the human border, she saw strange lights in the sky. Alien ships, watching. But they didn't fire. They didn't chase her. They let her go. She returned to her outpost, landing in secret. She carried the child to the medbay and hid it inside a storage pod. But something was wrong. As she entered her quarters, she saw it. The same symbols from Sector 9 were now glowing on her skin. Faint, like tattoos under the surface. She tried to wipe them, but they wouldn't go. And then, her pad rang. Commander Brigg. Alara, report to the control room, now. Inside the command center, screens flickered with red alerts. Brigg, tall and cold-eyed, stared at her. You crossed into alien space, he said flatly. She froze. How? We tracked your shuttle. You disobeyed direct orders. You trespassed into Sector 9. I had to, she said. There was a child. I don't care what you saw, he snapped. You risked everything. You could have brought something back. He stepped closer. Did you? She hesitated. Her heartbeat quickened. No, I didn't bring anything. He stared at her for a long moment. You're confined to quarters until further notice, he said coldly. And your med license is suspended. Before she could protest, he turned and walked out. Back in her room, Alara sat in the dark. The child was still, hidden, safe, for now. But something was happening to her. She looked in the mirror. Her eyes, they glowed faintly blue. And when she touched her face, the skin shimmered for a second like light moving underwater. She whispered to herself, what am I becoming? That night, she had a dream. She stood on a battlefield, alone. All around her, machines marched, planets burned, and in front of her, a great shadow, tall, watching. A voice echoed in her head. You touched the lost one. Now you carry the spark. And the war has found you. She woke up with a scream, sweat dripping from her forehead. And then her door buzzed. Someone was outside. She opened it cautiously. It was a soldier, young, injured, blood pouring from a chest wound. I heard. You can help me, he gasped. But how did? I don't know, he said. I just felt it, like you could save me. She panicked. I can't. My license. He collapsed. Without thinking, she touched his wound. A light passed from her hand. The bleeding stopped. The wound closed. The soldier blinked. I feel fine. He looked at her in fear. Then in awe, he stood up and ran. Alara stood frozen. What had she done? In the shadows, deep inside the alien fleet orbiting Sector 9, a figure stood watching multiple screens. One showed the child, safe, breathing. One showed Alara glowing slightly, touching the soldier. A voice behind the figure said, shall we capture her? The figure shook his head. No, let her grow. He turned toward the screen. She has awakened. The night after Alara healed the wounded soldier, something inside her refused to rest. She stared at the ceiling of her cold, gray quarters, eyes wide open. Her hands, once tired and ordinary, now felt alive. Too alive. When she closed her eyes, she saw energy flowing through them like liquid light. She hadn't slept in 36 hours, but her body didn't care. It wasn't tired. It was awake. Too awake. And the whispers had begun. Faint voices just under the surface of silence. Not loud. Not clear. But there. Whispering in a language she didn't know, yet somehow understood. Reclaimer. Signal. Activate. Awaken. She sat up with a gasp. She wasn't dreaming. This was something else. In the medical wing, she checked on the alien child she had rescued, still breathing. Still glowing faintly blue under its cracked skin. No one knew it was here, not even the internal scanners. Somehow the ship's systems refused to detect it. It was like it existed. Outside their tech, she placed her hand on its chest gently. The child's heart pulsed once. It whispered something, half-conscious. Not yet. Danger comes. They watched. From below. Ilara froze. Who's watching? No reply, just soft breathing. She left the storage bay with a chill running down her spine. At morning roll call, Ilara kept her head down. Her license was still suspended. She was technically not allowed to treat anyone or even walk near the med bay. But strange things were happening across the outpost. Machines were breaking, then fixing themselves without any tech team. Wounded soldiers who had seen Ilara were healing faster than anyone else. Rumors were growing. She touched me, and the pain stopped. I saw her eyes glow. Just for a second. She's not human anymore. Ilara walked through the engineering deck when she heard loud voices. 2 engineers stood arguing near. A half-burned alien machine, recovered from a recent raid. It's dead tech, one said. We can't even power it up. I told you, the other said. It reacts to biological signals. We just haven't found the right match. Ilara paused. The machine was black metal, shaped like a pod, with alien markings all over it. It looked like a mix of armor and a living creature. Suddenly, her hands began to tingle. The markings on her skin, the same. Faint glowing lines from Sector 9 began to pulse. She took a step forward. Without thinking, the engineers turned. Hey, you're not cleared to be here. Ilara ignored them. She reached out. Her fingers brushed the machine. Click. The pod lit up. Its shell began to open slowly. The engineers gasped. What the? The black metal unfolded like flower petals, revealing a smooth seat inside. Symbols floated in the air like holograms. It was a pilot chamber, and it had just responded to her. Ilara. A voice shouted. Commander Briggs stormed in with 2 armed guards. She stepped back, but the machine stayed open, glowing. Briggs' eyes were full of fire. What have you done? He snapped. Step away from the device. I didn't do anything, she said softly. It responded on its own. You expect me to believe that? He turned to the guards. Detain her. I want a full scan. They brought her to the command medical lab. Forced scans. Blood samples. Neural mapping. The results came back an hour later. Briggs stared at the screen. Silent. Dr. Wren, the station's lead scientist, whispered to him. This isn't human. At least, not fully. Her DNA is changing. Her brainwaves are off the charts. She's showing signs of alien fusion. Fusion? Briggs said through clenched teeth. She's bonded with something. Or someone. Briggs turned to Ilara. What were you doing in Sector 9? She said nothing. What did you bring back? Still silence. He slammed his hand on the table. You're a threat to this station. No, Ilara said finally. I'm the only thing keeping it safe. Briggs stared at her, then ordered, lock her up. They placed her in a sealed cell, one with no tech access. No data ports. No link. But even there, the whispers followed her. They were louder now. You are the bridge. The link between dead machines and living purpose. You are the reclaimer. She paced back and forth. Something was coming. She could feel it. She wasn't just changing. She was activating. Meanwhile, deep below the surface of the outpost, something else stirred. In the dark cargo bay, where the alien child lay hidden, the air shifted. The child opened its eyes. It whispered a single word, Ilara. And then the lights exploded. Red alert sounded across the outpost. Engineers shouted. Systems failed. Doors locked down. Defense shields began to power up without orders. Commander Brigg ran to the control room. "What's going on?" "A tech." OFFICER stammered. "Something just accessed the core systems. Alien code inside our mainframe. It's rewriting protocols." "From where?" "From the medbay." Brigg's eyes narrowed. "Ilara." In her cell, Ilara gasped at the walls. Around her hummed. A panel opened by itself. A voice came through the speaker. "Follow the light." The floor lit up with blue lines. The door unlocked without a sound. She stepped out, heart pounding. No guards. No alarms. As if the base was letting her go. She followed. The glowing path down a quiet hallway. It led her back to the hidden storage bay. Inside, the alien child was floating in midair. Its body glowing bright now, fully awake. "Ilara," it said. "They know you must leave. They will kill you." "What's happening to me?" she asked. "You touch the ancient light. The machines now hear your voice, but so do the enemies." "Ilara!" A voice shouted behind her. She turned. Brigg stood at the door, holding a pulse rifle. "Step away from the alien." The child looked at her. "Don't let him stop your path." Brigg aimed the gun. "Ilara, stand down." She stepped in front of the child. "I won't let you hurt him. I should have spaced you the moment you returned." Brigg pulled the trigger. Time slowed. Ilara raised her hand. The blue markings on her skin flashed. The bullet of light from Brigg's gun stopped mid-air frozen. Then it reversed. The energy pulse flew back into the gun, exploding it in his hands. Brigg screamed and dropped to the floor. Ilara stared at her hands, shaking. "I didn't mean to ... double quotes." The child spoke calmly. "You're awakening. This is just the beginning." She picked up the child and ran. She didn't know where she was going, but her feet moved on their own. The path lit up ahead of her. Doors opened. Security. Bots ignored her. Even the auto turrets shut down. She was no longer part of the system. She was above it. Outside, she reached a landing platform. A small fighter shuttle alien. Tech stood waiting. The cockpit opened on its own. The child looked at her. "Go, they will follow, but they cannot catch you yet." She climbed in. The ship powered up the moment she sat down. Her hands touched the controls, and they responded like they were part of her. The ship rose into the air and blasted into the stars. Inside the command center, Brig's hand burned. Watched the ship disappear on the screen. "She's gone." A soldier whispered. "No," Brigg said. "She's just begun." Far away, in the black zone of space, a dark fleet moved. Ships that had no pilots. Machines that had no masters. But they had just awakened. And they had heard a signal. A reclaimer had returned, and war would never sleep again. Ilara's shuttle flew fast through deep space, leaving the war-torn outpost behind. She didn't look back. She couldn't. The alien child lay quietly beside her in the co-pilot seat. Its eyes closed, chest rising slowly. Ilara gripped the controls, her heartbeat matching the hum of the ship. Her hands still glowed faintly blue when they touched the console. It was no longer just a machine. It was connected to her. "How did I become this?" She whispered. "What am I now?" The child didn't answer. But Ilara felt the answer inside her. She wasn't just a medic anymore. She was something else. Back on the outpost, Commander Brigg stood in front of a hologram, speaking to a shadowed figure. She escaped with the prototype and the alien child. The voice responded coldly. "Then she's no longer yours to control. She belongs to us now." Brigg clenched his fist. "She's dangerous." "No, she's important." The shadow leaned forward. "You let her leave. Now we must find her. Before they do." Far across the stars, in alien territory, another signal flared. Inside a strange ship made of dark, living metal, a tall figure awoke. Its face was hidden behind armor. Its eyes burned with violet fire. It spoke one word: Reclaimer. Ilara didn't sleep. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw visions, explosions, planets breaking, metal armies rising from the ground. And always, in the center her, standing alone, her hands glowing, machines bowing to her. The ship's system beeped. Unregistered object detected. Rear sector. Distance, 600 kilometers. She sat up, scanned the radar. A small black ship followed behind her fast, silent, and not human. Someone's tracking us, she said. The child opened its eyes slowly. They found us. Who are they? They don't serve one side. They serve only balance, and now they believe you have broken it. Alara pushed the ship faster, but the enemy ship followed easily, almost playing with her. She flew into an asteroid field, dodging sharp rocks and spinning debris. The alien ship fired. A silent blast. Her shield cracked. The console blinked red. I need to land, she said. Hide. The child pointed to a nearby moon. There, it's dead. They won't scan us there. She didn't question. She dove the ship straight toward the dusty moon surface. They landed inside a dark crater. The ground was cracked and dry. The air cold and heavy. She carried the child out and hid the ship under a rocky arch. Stay quiet, she said. I'll scout. But as she turned, a figure stood before her. Tall, armored, silent. Its voice echoed without speaking. You are not ready, but you must answer. Alara stepped back. Who are you? I am the Watcher, guardian of the code. Code? The Watcher raised a hand. In the air, glowing lines formed symbols from alien tech, the same ones on Alara's skin. You carry what was never meant for humans, the ancient machine's spark, the gift of the architects. And now both sides want you. Dead. Alara's voice shook. I didn't choose this. No, but you accepted the child. You healed it. That was enough. The Watcher stepped closer. Give it to us now. No, Alara said. He's not a weapon. He's a life. Then you've chosen your side. The Watcher raised its hand again. A glowing spear of energy formed in its palm. Before it could strike, the child screamed. A wave of energy exploded from him, blue and gold light, crashing into the Watcher and knocking it back. Alara shielded her eyes. When she looked again, the Watcher was gone. Dust floated in the air. The child stood weakly, shaking. You must go, he said. They won't stop. Now the architects will send hunters. Who are the architects? She asked. They are the builders of all war tech. They created the spark you now hold. You are part of their code. They will want it back or destroyed. Back in space, Briggs' ship hovered near a space station. He met a woman in silver armor, eyes cold, voice colder. You're from the Nexus cores? He asked. She nodded. We heard about the reclaimer signal. We also heard you let her escape. Briggs' jaw tightened. She was more than human. She disabled our defenses without touching a console. The woman smirked. Good. That means the signal is true. Briggs frowned. You're not going to stop her? No, she said. We're going to use her. Alara and the child sat by a dead tree on the moon. She looked at the stars above. I've spent my life saving people, and now everyone wants me dead. Not everyone, the child said. Some will follow you, some fear you. But you must decide, run forever or rise. I didn't ask for this. No great one ever does. Suddenly, the ground shook. Above them, ships descended, 3 of them. Sleek, silver, and human-made. Briggs' logo marked their wings. They found us. Alara grabbed the child and ran. They reached her ship just as beams of light blasted the rocks behind them. She took off fast and low. As she flew upward, a voice echoed through her ship. Stop now, Alara Ven, or we will destroy your shuttle. She ignored them. Instead, she focused. She placed both hands on the ship's console. Her skin glowed. The ship responded, not with speed, But with transformation, the cockpit shifted shape. Wings changed position. The ship grew larger, sleeker. A hidden engine activated. And then it vanished from space. Jumped. Without coordinates. Without fuel. Only power. When she opened her eyes, stars around her were unfamiliar. Where are we? She asked. The child smiled weakly. Somewhere safe, for now. Ilara looked at her glowing hands. Her heartbeat slowed. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't just a healer. She was now a spark of something ancient. Something bigger than war, and everyone, human or alien, wanted her to pick a side. But maybe she would make her own. Ilara's ship drifted through the empty black of space, surrounded by stars she had never seen before. The child sat quietly beside her, eyes glowing softly like a small beacon in the dark. For the first time in days, Ilara allowed herself to breathe. "We need a safe place," she said quietly. "Somewhere I can learn about this spark." The child nodded slowly. "There is a place, far from war, far from hunters." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "Tell me." After hours of silent flying, they reached an enormous cloud of floating metal debris. Huge pieces of broken ships, giant engines, shattered weapons frozen in space like a graveyard. Ilara swallowed hard. "What is this place?" "The machine graveyard," the child said. "Where lost war machines go to rest or be forgotten." The ship moved carefully between the twisted metal. Inside, Ilara felt a strange pull in her chest. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed faster. Her hands tingled like they were calling out to the dead machines. She landed on a large, flat piece of shipwreck. As soon as her boots touched the metal surface, the air seemed to hum. Ilara looked around. The broken hulls and shards of armor held strange blue lights, faint and flickering, like tiny stars trapped in cold metal. The child whispered, "This place is alive, but sleeping." Ilara felt a sudden warmth spread from her chest to her fingertips. She reached out and touched a broken robot arm lying near the wreckage. Arm twitched. The fingers moved slowly, as if waking from a deep sleep. Ilara stepped back, eyes wide. Suddenly, a soft voice echoed through the graveyard. "Who awakens the silent?" Ilara spun around. An old machine stood before her. Its metal body cracked but still glowing faintly blue. Its eyes were like two small suns, watching her carefully. "I am the guardian of the graveyard," it said in a low, mechanical voice. Ilara swallowed. I am Ilara. I carry the spark." The guardian nodded slowly. "The spark of the Jung architects. You have touched the ancient light. That is why the machines stir." "Who were the architects?" she asked. "They built the first war machines, created this spark to bind life and metal, to bring balance to chaos." Ilara frowned. "But the war is chaos. Machines are weapons." "Not always," said the guardian. "The spark can heal or destroy. It is power, like fire. It can warm or burn." Ilara looked at her hands again. The glowing lines spread up her arms, brighter than before. "I want to control it. To protect life." The guardian stepped closer. "To do that, you must awaken the heart of the graveyard." "Ilara, the heart?" The child's voice was calm but urgent. The guardian pointed to a giant wreck in the distance. A ship older than any star, the core vessel. "Its power holds the spark of the architects, but it has been silent for centuries." Ilara nodded. "How do I find it?" "You must enter the core vessel. Face what you fear. Only then will you claim the spark fully." Ilara felt a chill. Her mind raced with memories of the war, the chase, and Briggs' betrayal. But she knew she had no choice. She followed the child toward the core vessel, an enormous shipwreck. Half buried in floating debris, its surface was cracked, covered in glowing alien runes. The closer she got, the more alive the graveyard became. Inside the core vessel, the air was thick and heavy. The ship's corridors were dark, but her skin glowed, lighting the way. Suddenly, walls shifted, metal shapes moved like living creatures. Ghostly echoes of old battles filled the air. And then she heard it, a voice from the deep. Alara, you are the spark. The voice was hers, but not hers. It was older. Deeper, a shadow appeared. A tall figure, armored in ancient war gear, glowing faint blue. Alara, it said softly, I am your other self. The original reclaimer. Alara stepped back, heart pounding. Why are you here? To guide you, to warn you. The spark is more than power, it is destiny. The figure raised a hand. Images flashed in Alara's mind. Warriors, battles, machines bowing before a healer. You are part of a kutum. Long line. And the war you fight now is only the beginning. Alara felt the weight of truth pressing down. I want to save lives. Not start a war. The figure smiled sadly. You may save some, but others will hunt you forever. The figure touched her chest. A wave of energy surged through Elara. Suddenly, she understood. The machines around her heard their voices, their memories. They were waiting for her. With new strength, Alara moved through the core vessel. She found a glowing orb, the heart of the architect's power. Her hands reached out. As she touched it, the orb exploded in light. The machines in the graveyard awoke, humming with energy. Back outside, Alara stepped onto the graveyard floor. She was different now. Stronger. The glow on her skin burned bright like a star. She looked at the child. The spark is mine. And with it, the child said softly, comes the war. The machines had awakened. Above the silent graveyard, hundreds of broken ships now pulsed with soft blue light. The once dead metal hummed with quiet energy. Some small drones floated in the air, scanning their surroundings like they had just remembered they were alive. And in the center of it all stood Alara. Her skin glowed. Her eyes shone bright like stars. The spark of the architects now lived fully inside her. Beside her, the alien child watched silently. They will come now, the child said. The hunters. Alara turned to him. Who are they? They were created long ago, the child replied, by the same hands that made the spark. Their only purpose is to destroy anyone who holds it. Why? Because not everyone can control it. Long ago, others tried. They failed. The spark destroyed them, and the galaxy nearly fell into ruin. Alara nodded slowly. So they'll think I'm a danger. The child's eyes were sad. To them you already are. Suddenly, the graveyard shook. A loud boom echoed across space. Alara looked up. Dark ships had entered the graveyard, sleek, sharp, and fast. Unlike brig ships, these were not human. They were something else. Hunters. They had arrived. Each hunter ship moved like a beast. Silent, smooth, and filled with weapons built from ancient tech. From one of the ships, a figure jumped and landed on the surface of a large wreck. It stood tall, over 8 feet. Its armor was black with golden veins of light running across it. It had no face, only a helmet shaped like a hawk's skull. Alara felt it immediately, his energy. Cold, heavy, violent. He is the first hunter, the child whispered. His name is Kale. Kale raised his hand and pointed directly at her. You are not worthy of the spark, his voice boomed across the metal. Give it up, or be destroyed. Alara stepped forward, standing tall. I didn't steal it. I didn't ask for it, but I'm not giving it to you. Kale didn't speak. Instead, he jumped again straight at her. Alara raised her hand. The spark inside her pulsed. Just before Kale reached her, a shield of blue light exploded from her body, throwing him back. He flipped midair and landed perfectly, unharmed. The ground around them cracked from the impact. More hunters appeared, dropping from their ships. 3, then 6, then 12. Each one wore different armor, some tall, some small, all silent, all deadly. Alara backed away slowly. She couldn't fight them all. Run, the child whispered. I can't, Alara replied. But before she could move, the ground beneath her shook again. Suddenly, the machines of the graveyard, the ones she had awakened, moved. One of the broken battle bots rose to its feet. Then another. Then 10 more. They stood beside Alara, facing the hunters. The machines had chosen their side. Her side. Kale tilted his head. "You control the graveyard," he said. "That makes you more dangerous than I thought." Then he raised both hands. Massive blades formed from the armor on his arms, alive with red lightning. "That I will destroy you myself." The battle began. Kale charged again. Ilara braced herself. Her machines ran forward to meet the hunters. Explosions lit up the graveyard. Metal clashed against metal. Sparks flew. The sound of energy weapons echoed into the void of space. Ilara focused. Her spark reached into the machines, helping them move faster, think better, fight harder. She wasn't fighting alone. Kale reached her again, this time faster. He slashed. His blade at her chest. Elara blocked with an energy shield, but the hit was strong. It pushed her back 10 steps. "You're learning," Kale growled, "but not fast enough." Ilara narrowed her eyes. "I'm not done." She focused all her power into her hands. Blue fire erupted from her palms. She sent a wave of spark. Energy straight at Kale. It hit him full force, pushing him back, cracking part of his armor. He stumbled. The first time anyone had touched him. Kale's voice grew colder. "Very well. Let me show you what I truly am." Kale's armor began to change. His body twisted. More blades appeared. Wings of energy opened behind his back. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a war form. An ultimate weapon. Alara's heart pounded. Her machines were strong, but Kale was beyond them. She turned to the child. "I need more." "You already have it," the child said. "The spark is not just in your hands. It's in your will." Ilara closed her eyes. She stopped fighting, stopped fearing, and reached deep into the spark. Suddenly, the ground beneath her glowed. Lines of light spread out in all directions, touching machines, wrecks, even the broken parts of ships. They rose. A dozen new machines formed. Larger, stronger, faster. These weren't just old bots. These were spark-born machines, reborn by her will. Ilara opened her eyes. Now glowing fully blue. She pointed at Kale. "Let's finish this." The final battle began. Kale flew at her with full speed. Ilara rose into the air, her body lifted by energy alone. They clashed mid-air, like 2 stars crashing. Around them, the spark-born machines and hunters fought like titans. The graveyard became a war zone. In the middle of battle, Kale caught Ilara by the throat. "You're strong," he hissed. "But strength isn't control." She struggled, eyes glowing, hands trying to break his grip. "I don't want control," she gasped. "I want balance." And with her last breath, she let go. Not just physically, but of fear. A pulse exploded from her chest. Kale was thrown across the sky. All hunters stopped. The machines froze. Time felt like it had paused. And then, everything bowed. To her. Ilara dropped to the ground, breathing hard. Kale stood slowly, half his armor broken. He looked at her with something new in his eyes. Respect. Then he turned. Without a word, the hunters left. They didn't win. But they didn't die. They knew now she was not the enemy. Not yet. The graveyard calmed. The machines slowly returned to stillness. Ilara knelt on the cracked metal floor. The child came to her side. "You did not kill them," he said softly. "No," she replied. "Because I don't want to become them." Far away, on a dark command ship, Commander Brigg watched the battle footage. He turned to the woman in silver armor. "Well?" he asked. She smiled. "She's ready." The stars outside Ilara's ship moved slowly. The machine graveyard faded behind her, quiet again. Her body ached. Her mind felt heavy. The spark was silent now, like it too needed rest. But the child watched her closely. "You let them go." he said. Ilara nodded, eyes on the stars. They came to destroy me, but they left alive. Some would call that weakness, the child said. She didn't reply at first. Then she turned toward him and answered firmly, I call it a choice. 4. 2 days, Ilara stayed in hiding. She used her new machines to build a small station from scrap. Her ship was hidden beneath metal wrecks. The spark still lived inside her, but she didn't call on it. Not yet. She needed time. And she needed answers, but peace never lasts. One morning, her system beeped. A ship approached fast and unarmed. Ilara stood up. Her shield bots activated instantly. Should I destroy it? She asked the child. He shook his head. Not yet. See who it is. The ship landed on a nearby platform. The doors opened, and a figure walked out. Tall, human, in a black coat. Commander Brig. Ilara's fists clenched. Brig walked forward slowly, raising both hands in peace. No weapons, he said. No tricks. You lied to me, Ilara said coldly. You stole the child. You hunted me. Brig nodded once. Yes, I did. I believed you were a threat. Now I believe you're something else. What do you want? She asked. To talk, he said. That's all. Ilara allowed him to step inside her base. Shield bots surrounded him. I saw what you did in the graveyard, Brig said. We all did. You stopped the hunters. You woke machines that haven't moved in centuries. I didn't do it to impress you, Ilara said. Brig shook his head. I know, but others are watching. The Nexus cores, the free colonies, even the architects if they're still alive. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Get to the point. Brig sighed. The war is changing. Fast. Someone is creating new weapons tech no one understands. Whole planets have gone dark. Ilara listened. Some of us believe it's a new threat, one that even the hunters fear. And you want my help? She asked. No, he said. We want a truce. Silence filled the room. Ilara looked at the child. He said nothing. She turned back to Brig. You chased me. You betrayed me. Why should I trust you now? Because you're the only one who can walk between all sides, Brig said. The humans don't trust the aliens. The aliens don't trust each other, but they all fear you. He paused. Fear can be used. Or wasted. Ilara didn't answer. She walked to the edge of the platform and stared out at the stars. So you want me to be your weapon? No, Brig said. I want you to be our voice. To bring leaders together, to end the war, Ilara laughed. It was short and tired. You want the girl who ran from a battlefield to lead peace talks? You're more than a girl now, he said. You're the spark. For a moment, Ilara was silent. Then she said, one meeting. No tricks. If I sense danger, I walk. Brig nodded. Agreed. 2 days later, Ilara arrived at the edge of neutral space, a floating station built from scrap and old warships. This was the only place where enemies met without killing each other. Inside, the station buzzed with tension. Leaders from different groups had gathered. The Nexus cores, the free colonies, the desert moons, even one alien tribe known as the Yarianaktal, reptilian beings with glowing eyes. They all stared when Ilara entered. Her skin still glowed softly. Her presence silenced the room. Brig introduced her. This is Ilara Ven, he said, bearer of the spark. Some leaders bowed. Some whispered. Some looked angry. Ilara walked to the center. I didn't ask for this power, she said, but I have it. And I've seen what war does. I won't join your armies. I won't take sides. But I'll help stop the next threat if you can work. Together, one general stood. You ask us to trust you when you're no longer human? Ilara looked at him calmly. I'm still me. I just carry something bigger now. The general sat down. Another alien spoke. We have heard rumors. Ships disappearing, new machines rising, not built by us. Not even by humans. A third whispered, "The old architects are returning." The room froze. Alara stepped forward. "I've seen their code. Felt it in my blood. They're not dead. They're watching. And if we keep fighting, they'll return to erase us all." Silence. Then Briggs said, "We need to send a scout team. Find the source of the signal." "The one we picked up near the Black Systems." Ilara nodded. "I'll go." Later that night, Ilara sat alone in her small ship. The child sat beside her. "You still don't trust him," he said. "No," she replied. "Then why agree?" "Because something worse is coming. I can feel it." The child looked up at her. "What if they try to use you?" Ilara smiled. "Then I'll remind them who they're dealing with." The next day, she flew toward the dark sector. Briggs sent a small team with her 2 humans, 1 alien, and a drone. They were supposed to be allies, but Alara felt something strange. One of the humans, a woman named Solon, didn't speak much. She kept checking her wrist pad, watching Alara too closely. As they neared the dark zone, their ship's slowed. Space around them looked broken, like it had been burned. Stars didn't shine here, just floating ash. Alara stepped onto the nearest wreck. The metal was ancient. The writing on it looked like what she'd seen in the core vessel. "Is it the architects?" Solon asked. Alara touched the wall, and suddenly she saw a vision. A giant machine, larger than any ship. Thousands of sparks inside it, crying out, and a voice. "The reclaimer must fall." Ilara gasped. She stumbled back. "It's a warning," she said. "Something is building a weapon here." Suddenly, the drone beeped. "Incoming signal hostile." Multiple signatures. Dozens of black ships appeared on the radar. Not human. Not alien. Not hunter. Something else. Unknown. They were not flying. They were floating. Like corpses, but moving. "They're dead," whispered one of the crew. "No," Ilara said. "They're waiting." Suddenly, Solon turned and pointed her blaster at Alara. "I'm sorry," she said. "I was ordered to stop you. They don't want peace. They want control of the spark." Ilara's eyes glowed. "You picked the wrong side." She raised her hand. Solon's weapon melted in her grip. The drone tried to flee. Ilara sent a pulse into the ship's controls. It stopped. The black ships turned toward them. Then they opened, releasing strange machines, twisted, broken, and alive. ELA turned to the team. "Get to the ship, now." They ran, but not all made it. One of the crew was caught by the strange machines, pulled into the dark, screaming. Ilara and the child reached the ship. She fired the engines, but not. To escape, she turned the ship into the enemy. "I'm tired of running," she said, and she flew straight toward the darkness. The stars had disappeared. Ilara's ship moved through pure blackness. Outside, the space looked dead. No light, no planets, no sound. Even the ship's scanners showed nothing but static. She was in the dark sector now. Beside her sat the alien child, silent and calm. Behind them, the engines hummed softly. But the rest of the ship felt cold, like it was being watched. Ilara stared ahead. The ship's screen flickered. "Anything?" she asked the AI. "No signals," it replied. "But something is here." The child touched the window. "They see us," he said quietly. "Who?" Ilara asked. He didn't answer. But just then, something appeared ahead. Not a ship. Not a planet. A gate. It floated in space like a giant ring. Dark metal, half broken, covered in strange symbols. As they got closer, the spark inside Ilara's chest pulsed. The gate responded. It opened. A soft blue light appeared inside the ring. Ilara looked at the child. No turning back now. He nodded. And they flew in. The moment they entered, everything changed. Suddenly, the ship wasn't in space anymore. It was inside a machine. A massive place, full of shifting walls, lights, and energy. Like flying through a living computer. Lines of code floated in the air, like fog. Symbols danced across the walls. Strange sounds echoed, whispers, hums, heartbeats. Alara felt it in her bones. This was architect space. Where are we? She asked. The child stood. This is not a place, he said. It's a memory. A memory? Yes, he said. The spark holds data, history, thought. You are inside the mind of the first architect. Alara walked to the window. Outside, she saw vision cities in the stars, ships larger than moons, machines being built by light alone. And then she saw war. Explosions, betrayal, architect versus architect. One voice echoed through it all. We created order, they chose chaos. We offered light, they brought war. One must remain. The rest must be erased. Alara touched her head. Pain shot through her mind. Visions rushed in, too fast, too many, 1,000 lives. 1,000,000 deaths, then silence. She opened her eyes. She was no longer on the ship. She was standing in a white chamber. Alone. Except for a figure. A head. Tall, glowing, made of shifting energy. An architect. But it didn't speak. It walked toward her and reached out its hand. Alara stepped back. What do you want? She asked. The figure didn't move its mouth, but she heard its voice. You carry the last spark. But you are broken. Human, weak. Give it back. Alara clenched her fists. I didn't take it. It chose me. The figure's eyes burned. You are not worthy. We must erase you before you become like the others. Suddenly, it raised its hand and the room turned into a battlefield. Machines formed from light. They charged at her, blades ready. Alara summoned the spark. Blue fire erupted around her. She jumped, spun, fought. The battle wasn't real, but the pain was. Every time she got hit, her body screamed. But she didn't fall. She kept fighting. 1 machine, 2, then 5. She moved faster. The spark wasn't just a weapon, it was a memory, a rhythm. A force of will. After what felt like hours, the battlefield vanished. Alara dropped to one knee, sweating and breathing hard. The architect stood again before her. You are stubborn, it said. That is your strength. And your danger. We built the galaxy, we brought order. And when our own kind broke the code, we erased them. Now you carry their failure. Alara stood up, weak but steady. I don't want your war, she said. I want peace. Then give up the spark. She looked it in the eye. No. Suddenly, the room broke apart like glass, and she was back in the ship. The child was beside her again. You survived, he said. She nodded. What was that? She asked. The final test, he replied. They tried to break your mind. But you're still here. Alara looked out the window. Ahead, something massive floated in the dark. It was a city. But not built from metal. It was made of pure energy. Floating. Breathing. Alive. Elara. Landed her ship near its edge. The city welcomed her, doors opening. Lights guiding her path. No guards. No weapons. Just silence. And then a voice. But this time, it wasn't in her mind. It came from a real person. Hello, Alara, said a woman standing at the gate. She was tall. Her eyes glowed silver. Her skin shimmered like the stars. You're one of them, Alara said. Yes, the woman replied. But I was once like you. They walked together through the city. The woman showed her machines that built themselves. Water that sang, air that held memories. This is what the galaxy could be, she said. If war ends, if the spark is balanced. Alara looked at her. Why me? The woman stopped walking. Because you didn't use it to destroy. She turned to Alara fully. You have a choice. Become the reclaimer. Or let others take the spark and repeat the past. Suddenly, the ground shook. Alarms rang. The woman's eyes went wide. They found us. Alara ran to the ship's screen. A fleet was approaching fast. Briggs forces. And worse. Behind them, something darker. The corrupted machines from the graveyard. Twisted, hungry. They followed me. Ilara said, angry. No, said the woman. They followed the spark. The city prepared to defend itself. Light towers rose. Shields activated. Ilara stood at the center of it all. This was no longer a mission. It was a war. One. Last war, for control, for peace, or for destruction. She looked at the child. I'm scared, she admitted. He took her hand. So were the architects. That's why they failed. Ilara closed her eyes. And let the spark burn. Energy flowed through the city. Machines woke up. The ground shook. And in the sky, a new light formed. ELARA. Not human. Not machine. Something new. She stepped forward to face the coming storm. And whispered, let's end this. The air inside the city thrummed with energy. Lights flashed like stars, pulsing in time with Ilara's heartbeat. The spark inside her glowed brighter than ever. She was no longer just human. No longer just a bearer of power. She was becoming something new, something both feared and revered. Outside, the corrupted machines swarmed like black storms. Their metal bodies twisted and cracked as they surged forward, hungry for the spark that burned within Ilara. Behind the fleet of twisted ships was Briggs' force, confused, angry, divided. They came to fight, but they did not understand the true battle that was about to unfold. Ilara stood at the center of the city, her eyes glowing blue, her body trembling with energy she could barely control. The woman who had welcomed her here, the one who called herself Lyra, stood beside her, calm and shining like a star. We don't have much time, Lyra said softly. They want the spark for themselves. If they take it, the galaxy will burn. Ilara nodded. Then we have to stop them, together. The battle began. Machines clashed with machines, light against shadow, fire against cold metal. Ilara raised her hands, and blue fire shot from her fingertips. The spark flared, breaking machines apart like glass. But for everyone destroyed, two more rose from the darkness. The corrupted machines were not normal. They had the memories of the architects, but were twisted by anger and greed. They didn't fight like machines. They fought like living creatures, hunting, sneaking, attacking with terrible intelligence. Briggs' ships fired wildly, blasting the corrupted forces. But many of his soldiers hesitated when they saw Ilara's power. Some whispered that she was no longer fully human. Others feared her. In the midst of the chaos, Ilara felt a hand grab her arm. It was Solon, the woman who had tried to betray her before. I want to help, Solon said, eyes full of regret. Ilara looked at her for a long moment. Why? Because I was wrong, Solon said. The spark isn't a weapon, it's a choice. You showed me that. Ilara nodded and pulled her into the fight. The city around them shook as the corrupted machines reached the walls. Energy shields shimmered, but began to crack under the pressure. Lyra moved among the defenders, her own light pushing back the darkness, guiding the machines to rebuild faster than they broke. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed through the city. The ground trembled. From the sky descended a massive ship, black as night, but pulsing with red energy. The Reclaimer, the machine Ilara had seen in her visions, the one that commanded the corrupted forces. It landed with a crash that sent waves through the city. Doors opened, and from the ship poured hundreds of new machines. Larger, faster, stronger than anything before. Ilara's heart raced. This is it, she whispered. The Reclaimer spoke, its voice cold and metallic. You carry the spark, it said. Give it to me. End this resistance. Ilara stood tall. I won't, she said. The spark is not yours. The Reclaimer laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Then be destroyed. It raised a massive arm. A blast of red energy shot toward Ilara. She raised her hands, the spark flaring in defense. The two forces collided with a terrible explosion that shook the entire city. The fight was brutal. Ilara used every bit of power she had. The spark flared and burned. The Reclaimers' attacks were heavy and merciless, but something inside Alara began to change. The spark was not just power. It was memory, feeling, choice. She remembered the people she had saved, the friends she had lost. She felt the child's quiet strength beside her. She saw the city, the future, the possibility of peace. And then, she made a decision. She reached out with her mind, touching the Reclaimer's core. For a moment, there was silence, then a voice, not cold, but full of sadness. I was made to protect, to save, but I lost my way. Ilara's eyes softened. You can change, she said. We can all change. The Reclaimer hesitated, then it lowered its weapon. The corrupted machines stopped attacking. Briggs' forces slowly approached, watching in disbelief. Ilara turned to them. This war is over, she said. Not because I destroyed them, but because I showed them another way. Briggs stepped forward. You risked everything, he said quietly. Why? Because the spark is not just power, Ilara said. It's hope. The city began to heal. Machines repaired themselves. The light returned. Days passed. Ilara and Lyra worked together to rebuild. The leaders of the galaxy sent envoys to talk peace. The child smiled. You have done what no one else could, he said. Ilara looked at the stars. I didn't do it alone, she said. The spark is in all of us. But peace is fragile. Elari knew the war was not truly over. New threats would come. But for now, the galaxy had a chance. And Ilara, once a frightened girl running from war, had become its brightest light. End of story.